Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Hey everyone, I know this is kind of a weird video and completely unrelated to my usual game dev stuff, but I don't know, I'm gonna make it anyway. And I'm my dad. Sheesh. So I decided to try playing through Jellycar World's 8 skull levels again, which are meant to be the hardest levels in the entire game. They're structured like they need getting over it levels, where if you fail a section, you fall down and lose a little progress or restart the entire level, depending on your luck. And I plan to play these with a train car shape. Why? Because I don't value my sanity. No further questions. I also tried doing so by playing through the whole Skull Rush in one sitting, but spoiler alert, that failed miserably. The train is certainly an interesting car shape. It has a plow in the front, a bulky bit in the back, a cool smoke effect, and 4 tires, which is the most of any of the car shapes in the game. It's dumb, it's chonky, and I love it. And I fully intend to play through all of these skull levels with it. Those tires are both a benefit and a drawback, though, because it makes the platforming on small platforms easier, but it also makes each wheel less powerful. Also, the developer of the game, who's called Wallaber, has stated that not every level of Jellycar Worlds is even possible with the train, and I could not find any evidence online that it is, so I guess we're gonna figure this out the hard way. Consider it a challenge run. Can you beat every skull level in Jellycar Worlds as the Jelly Train? Let the suffering commence. One dash skull. This level has absolutely no abilities to help you, and I'm pretty rusty at Jellycar. So this level is gonna be very... Oh, I already beat it. That was easy. Okay, let me just walk you through what happened. Like I said, there are no abilities in this level, and it focuses instead on pure platforming. The 4 wheels really play into the train's strength and allow me to get good traction on surfaces, so this level is mostly a cakewalk. Usually the conveyor belt part at the end is really scary, but I accidentally skipped it too, like totally by accident. I just got hit by that thing. So, on to 2-dash skull. Okay, so on to... Whoa. God, yeah, that was fast. Oh, that's my first fall to run. Anyway, on to 2-dash skull. This level is about the grow power-up, and it has a bunch of gears and stuff to navigate through. It makes you do a bunch of precise jumps and backflips and stuff to progress. I fell down a few times, but it wasn't all that bad, all things considered. So far, this challenge has been pretty easy, but will that last? No. No, it won't. 3-dash skull is the first level where the jelly train starts to actually be a serious liability. That's mainly because of 2 sections, the chimney and the rollers. But before I get to that, let's talk about the level. 3-dash skull takes place in the sky and focuses on the balloon power-up, which basically lets you fly for a little bit. The skull level is funny because sometimes it's super easy and other times I find it to be weirdly difficult and there seems to be no rhyme or reason to it. But enough dilly-dallying, let's get to the sections in question. First, the chimney. This is a vertical ascent where you basically just drive along the wall. The first part of the chimney is pretty easy, albeit a bit awkward to slip through this one gap right here, but the second part is where it really hits the fan. You need to use the grow power-up and tilt the car to drive up to the next part, but the train's awkward geometry and weak individual tires make this impossible. So what do? You may have noticed by now that I wiggle the stick when going up tight climbs. This is mainly just because I think it's funny, to be honest, but now I finally found a practical use for it. Grab the power-up, grow instantly, and then wiggle the stick like a horse gloriously galloping to victory. But this still isn't quite enough, so I saved up some balloon from earlier in the level to finish the job. Nice. Now for the second struggle, the rollers. This section is mainly about using the balloon to float up carefully between those spinning wheels. If you touch any, you're launched right back down. Also, you have very little balloon, so you can't afford to lose any time while going up. The real problem is that the train is really big and fat compared to the normal jelly car, so it's really hard to weave through them. Hard, but not impossible. After a few tries I made it and grabbed that dang stop sign. But by now, who knows if the real hard levels are even remotely doable. So speaking of real hard levels, this isn't one of them. It involves using the sticky tires to power up, and honestly it's pretty easy, but it's pretty fun. The only real challenge is this final section where you need to squeeze through this opening in like a millisecond, and I messed that up a bunch, but eventually got through. Next. This is my favorite skull level in the game, except for possibly 7, but we'll get to that one. This level takes place in outer space and is focused on using the... Hey, that kind of rhymed. And is focused on using the rocket power-up to fly through a few maze-like obstacles before making it to the end. It was kinda hard, but not really because of the jelly train. It's just generally a bit of a step up and challenge. It's also where I got that opening clip, which was pretty soul-crushing. I'm fine, by the way. Anyway, yeah, it wasn't that hard. I'm fine.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Okay, so you thought that this challenge seemed a bit too easy so far, didn't you? Please allow me to introduce you to 6-Skull. This level is insane, not fun. I did not enjoy playing this level. Okay, 6-Skull is a level that is about this antenna that I've affectionately named the Telemachus antenna, because I first played this game back when I was learning about the Odyssey in school, and Telemachus just sounds like the name of a Wi-Fi router. It may also be referred to as the beep-boop antenna, if you so wish. The Telemachus antenna is used to interact with pink objects in a variety of ways, such as making them appear/disappear, making them move, or changing their rotation. Now let's go over this level so you can see how annoying it is with just a normal Jellycar. Also, a quick side note, whenever you see demo on screen, this is not part of the actual challenge, but just used as an example. I would never cheat on the jelly train like that now that we're trauma bonded. The level starts with you grabbing the Telemachus antenna and using it to fling yourself to the right. You then precisely time the platform to catch you and do this pretty easy wall driving sequence and bounce, and then you get to the really annoying part. You need to carefully ascend these timed platforms, which is pretty awkward as it is, with 4 wheels, and then you reach this freaking part. You need to land in just the right spot, move in just the right time, fling back in just the right way, and then launch forward, all while using the Telemachus antenna to make sure that you land on the conveyor belts. And if you mess up, back to those timed platforms, and if you mess that up, back to the wall drive, and if you mess that up, you get the idea. And if you, by some miracle, make it past that, then you have a final challenging Sticky Tires Telemachus antenna section, where if you mess up, you know the drill. And that's all with the normal Jellycar. With the train, oh boy. The first fling, wall drive, time platforms, and basically everything else in the level is really awkward to pull off, like fitting a square peg into a round hole. I tried time and time again, falling over and over and over again, but I knew it was possible. I had no reason to believe it wasn't, so I had no reason to stop. This level made me crash out like 14 times, and it's no wonder when you look at how long this level took. Look at this. This is how long levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 took. And this is level 6. But that means I did it. The treacherous time platforms, the unreliable conveyor belts, the final test of skill, and the launch. I did it. But just as all good things must come to an end, I can live in peace knowing that the same is true for bad ones. You know, it's funny, because I typically think of 7-Skull as the easiest skull level in the whole game, but after all that frustration, I was really losing my edge and failing when I really shouldn't be. This level takes place on a snowy mountain, and is about using a grappling hook to climb to the top. It's normally really fun, but my brain is so cluttered at this point that I just keep choking over and over and over again until I get frustrated again. Why haven't I beaten this yet, I thought, and my struggle is apparent in the fact that this level somehow took me the 3rd longest to beat. Still far less time than the top 2 though, those of course being 6-Skull and... And here it is, the single hardest challenge of the run by a mile. So hard, in fact, that I gave up on the run and just took a break for the night. I really wanted to do a skull rush all the way through, but I just couldn't do it. So why is that? Well, buckle up. I guess the ability for this level is technically the hot peppers, which make you move really fast for a short period of time and overinflate your tires. But those are only used for the first 3 jumps in the level, which are much tighter with the jelly train already, but far from what makes this level such a nightmare for all the trains of the world. From there, you move on to this tight precision platforming section, which is one of the few parts of the level that's actually easier with the train, and then things start getting difficult. The next obstacle is the L, which makes you fling yourself upwards. Normally you use it like a trebuchet, but I found this unreliable, so I just bumped myself up with it like this most of the time. Eventually I found a way to use it the intended way more reliably, so I just did that. But keep in mind that this whole level is still vertical, so you better not fall down. Then you cross this bridge with platforms that you need to keep bouncing on before they vanish. It's one of the easier parts, but as high stakes as ever and very easy to mess up if you aren't paying attention. And then things get really, really bad. The two next obstacles are hands down the hardest in the entire challenge. First off, the bulb. This is a really soft circle that you need to balance on. Simple, right? The problem is that it's moving up, and these slippery walls block off the entire right side of the bulb, and then the left side, so you need to get on, shift to the left, balance on that side, shift to the right, which is super easy to overshoot and fall off, by the way, then balance on the right, and then jump off and onto this platform. Worse yet, the jelly train struggles to balance due to the wheel geometry and power, especially on the right side because the back of it's so chonky. This means that you need to use just the right amount of power and turning to stay on top. Too much power, the bulb starts bouncing up and down, which makes you lose contact with it, so it goes down and you fall. Too little power, you slip off and fall. Too much turning, your wheels lose contact, you slip off and fall. Too little turning, you slip off and fall. And what is the reward for this already challenging section being completed? An even harder challenge. The jump. The one that I failed countless times, not even knowing if it's possible. The one that made me quit on day 1 and come back. The one that seems so completely insane that I scoured the internet for any sign of hope that it is beatable, only to come up short. The jump, as the name suggests, involves jumping from this platform to the other one. That's a pretty big gap, right? But that's far from the only issue. If you haven't noticed, the platform cycles on a conveyor belt, so you have an extremely brief window of time where it may even be remotely possible. Go too early and you bump into it and fall. Go too late and you miss it. But wait, there's more. It's already absurdly hard using the normal Jellycar, but the train is chunkier, so it really struggles to jump as far. And even if you do jump to it, remember, 4 wheels means that every wheel's weaker, including the front wheel. So even if it seems like you should make it, you just don't have the horsepower to pull yourself up before it keeps rotating. Oh, and yeah, it's spinning counterclockwise, speaking of which. Good luck and have fun falling all the way back down if you fall, having to redo at least the bulb with every single attempt. Once I came back the second day, I grinded this jump for what seemed like an eternity, always coming up short, slipping, or bouncing off into the depths of despair below. The bulb was merely my entry ticket to the real challenge, and I was nearly convinced that it simply could not be done. I gave up. This is just a waste of time, and some challenges are not worth completing. That's it, viewer. Sometimes you just have to accept defeat. That's what any sane, rational person would say, but I'm not burdened by either one of those traits.
Boing. 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 Brown. Bew. Meow. Boing. 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 Wow.
And that was it. The jump is done. I cheered out in celebration. I didn't know how I did it, to be frank, but now I know that it can be done. Nevertheless, we aren't quite out of the woods just yet. We still have a short but extremely stressful platforming section to go. The first jump is awkward because the train's chunky behind. But it's doable.
Boing. Boing. Boing.
And then there's this wall jumping section, which took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to do, and for a second I actually thought that this would be an extremely unremarkable end to the challenge. But I learned that you just need to drive up each wall for a beat before bouncing off. And there it is, one final jump to my freedom and glory. If I fall, which I actually have before, I'll need to restart the whole level. Let's end this.
Boing. Boing.
And there you have it. The final timer for 8-Skull is only a half hour. But keeping in mind that I literally maxed out the timer on the last level, it's closer to a full hour. So can you beat Jellycar World Skull levels with the Jelly Train? Yes. Yes, you can. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you wishlisted my game 5-Star Fishy on Steam, and also slap that subscribe button and stuff. I usually focus on game development related things, so I get it if that's not your cup of tea though. Speaking of which, sorry for my silence on 5-Star Fishy. I've been really busy lately, if that's not obvious from the college-related videos that I put out, but the project is not done. I'll update you guys soon, but be patient, and I'll see you later.